Hey guys, welcome back to Salem, Cellar. So I recently began watching Shudder's original series, Cursed. Today we're going to be diving into Rosemary's Baby. Is it cursed? Is it not? You decide. But first, please make sure you follow me on social media and like, share, and subscribe. I will be right back. So Shudder came out with a original series called Cursed. Each episode is about a different horror movie and the curses behind it. So we are going to be discussing Rosemary's Baby today. So Rosemary's Baby was released in 1968, starring Mia Farrow. It was directed by Roman Polanski. It is about a young woman who becomes impregnated by the devil, and just her journey throughout. I don't want to give too much away. If you haven't seen it, you need to go see it. It is a great psychological horror movie. It is definitely one of those milestone movies. So I just want to dive in now to all the curses. So I began watching this episode and I learned so much that I never knew. And honestly, this has always been one of my favorite movies. And I don't know if I'll ever feel the same about it after watching this episode. Don't get me wrong, I enjoyed learning all these things about it, but boy, it was heavy. So first I want to start with the Paramount Studios, which I didn't know, but it was basically built on a cemetery. They took a cemetery, split it in half, and made the studio. And that's where all the, inside scenes of Rosemary's Baby was filmed. So there's definitely remains under that building. Like they didn't take, this is a poltergeist situation. They didn't take away all those bones and build this studio. No, there's definitely remains and it's definitely haunted. There's no way around it in my opinion. That just, to me, that is like the recipe for a cursed movie, building. No, don't build over cemeteries. We learned this in Poltergeist. The Dakota building also, where they shot Rosemary's Baby. Boy, there's so much that went on. I did not know that that's where John Lennon was shot. He was literally shot right in front of that building. Did you guys know that? I did not know that. A lot of weird coincidences, but we will dive into that later. William Castle, who was one of the producers on the film, he was known for his lighthearted horror movies back in the day, and he signed on to do Rosemary's Baby. After filming, he had an issue with his kidneys. He had to have major surgery, and then he went into a really, really, really bad depression. After that, things started to happen with his family. Like one of his daughters passed away at a really young age. His other daughter, one of her children, died at a really young age of cancer. It was just like one weird, horrible coincidence after another. Is this the curse, or it's just this really bad luck? There's Christopher Comita, who made that really creepy music in the beginning of the film that I love. He, after filming, they say he hit his head. There's just conflicting stories, but he developed a hematoma and then he goes into a coma, and 3 months later he passes. Does that sound familiar to you? Hutch from the film, which is Mia Farrow's good friend, mysteriously becomes ill, goes into a coma, and passes 3 months later. Coincidence? Cursed? Sounds kind of like a curse to me. There's also Victoria Vetri, who plays Terry in the film. She's this woman that Mia Farrow befriends. She's staying with the neighbors. There's just a weird vibe, weird situation going on with her. She eventually commits suicide in the film, which we know she doesn't commit suicide, or maybe she does. So the actress who plays her, Victoria, in real life, after filming, she becomes depressed, paranoid. She ends up shooting her husband of 20 years because she thought he was cheating on her. She spends 8 years in prison. Like, is that that's crazy. You're paranoid right after you play a character who's probably paranoid, and then you shoot your husband in the back, and then you go to jail for 8 years. To me, that's insane. What are the chances? This woman who has had no history of mental illness, has a acting career, married for 20 years, then you film this movie, and then just one bad thing after the next. So throughout the film, you see Mia Farrow, you see her reading a book, you see a book on the shelf. It turns out that that book is actually a book written by Sammy Davis Jr. I did not know that Sammy Davis Jr. was a Satanist. Yes, and this book was about that. So I just thought that was a little spooky, something I just never ever realized. But now when I rewatch it, I will be looking out for that creepy white book throughout. Roman Polanski, who directed Rosemary's Baby, he has had a very traumatic life. You will hear about it throughout the episode. So there's a quote during the episode where the gentleman says, "When you think of evil, you think of Adolf Hitler and Charles Manson." Adolf Hitler murdered Roman Polanski's pregnant mother, and Charles Manson murdered Roman Polanski's pregnant wife, Sharon Tate. How horrifying. Horrifying. So for all of you who don't live on this planet and have never heard of Charles Manson and the Sharon Tate murders, yes, Sharon Tate was Roman Polanski's wife. She had a party and Charles Manson's followers, whatever you want to call them, came in and murdered them all. Victoria Ventry, who plays Terry, she was supposed to be at that party, but she canceled. I just got chills saying that out loud. That just, to me, is just, imagine, like, horrible. Charles Manson has said that he was inspired by the Beatles' White Album. So let's talk about that a little bit. The Beatles recorded their White Album with Mia Farrow in India. 9 months later, after the Beatles' White Album is released, Sharon Tate is murdered. John Lennon also murdered in front of the Dakota Building. So throughout Rosemary's Baby, you could see this white beetle. It is literally right in front of the building. After Terry commits suicide, you see her body there, and then you see the beetle. You see the beetle behind the taxi when Mia Farrow is driving to her doctor's office. It is seen throughout. A little creepy, a little weird to me. A lot of weird coincidences. When does a coincidence become a curse? So what do you guys think? Cursed or not? I personally feel like it was cursed. That's just my personal opinion. There was too many coincidences for me. There's even a part where William Castle's daughter mentions that her father receives this box from Mia Farrow, and it's engraved, and the end shot, they zoom into the box, and it's the devil's face with ruby red eyes. Something was going on there. I think they were cursed. I don't think it was a coincidence. But comment down below, let me know exactly what you think. So each week I'm going to be discussing and ripping apart these episodes. So make sure your notifications are on and you're following me on social media, because I do post whenever I have a new video up. And like always, thanks so much for watching. I'll be right back.